just seeing the sign, like, should at least give the warning. Oh. Um, what else do I got here? Children. Too young until whenever. Okay, I made those points. Children transitioning. Children transitioning should be the parents' decision. I've seen a lot of debating about this. For one, I hear that it doesn't happen to a court. If you listen to the right, again, they blow it up. They blow it out of proportion. They claim it's happening in mass numbers to a lot of kids, etc., etc. I don't believe them. I think it just comes from a place of bigotry. I don't think they're honest. But yeah, I think ultimately it should be left up to the parents, and they're just so hypocritical on this topic, because when it comes to children learning about gay people or trans people, the right says, oh, it should be the parents' decision. Let the parent get involved in that. But then on this topic, over a child getting gender affirming care, they say the science is still out there, etc., etc. I'm not talking about them at this point. Like, I don't know if you heard of Stitch and Adam. They say we don't know how it affects children, which is what the right says too. So I don't know how I feel about Stitch and Adam, but Kyle Kalinske, Cristobal, the Vanguard Boys, they Gavin and Zach, I think they deem them to be in good faith. So I kind of give them a little. I listen to them a little, but I have my doubts, honestly. But yeah, they say that it is inconclusive science, and so we shouldn't be exposing the children to that, etc., etc. The argument from the left side, like from Zach, even Ethan Klein, because he's a pretty left-wing dude, even though he's not that political, but I think he's pretty political, but he claims he's not. He had a big debate with this gay guy now, but I think he used to be a trans woman, but now he's not, and now he's against transgender stuff, calls it transgenderism. Anyways, Ethan Klein had a big, long debate with this person, and I think Ethan Klein freaking destroyed him brick by brick in the debate. But the arguments on our side is that the detransition rate is like 1%. Like people who might regret it or something, less than 1%. Sitch and Adam say that's something. I heard them say that to Kyle and I heard them say to Crystal and Kyle that is among adults. They weren't talking about children. And I think Crystal and Kyle ceded that point, but they weren't very sure. And but at the same time, they said, "Well, that's the only science we have, So we can make more science." They said that was pretty much their argument. And apparently, it's been like 27 studies on this, and yeah, very low transition regret, or detransitioning, whatever. What was the other argument on this? But yeah, like I was saying, the right, very hypocritical. Don't teach them about sexual stuff. Let the parents get involved, their decision. But then you have right-wing governors like DeSantis or Greg Abbott in Texas, where they threaten to prosecute the parents if they decide to enroll to put their kids on gender affirming care. So it's like hypocritical. You won't trust the parents on that. Supposedly, because apparently it's very rigorous procedure before the kid even gets uh, the gender affirming care procedure or treatment, whatever, which doesn't include surgery, by the way. But like the kids get seen by several doctors, by mental professionals, and they talk to the parents about it, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's how they come to a decision. And the parents, I guess, they make the decisions based on whatever information they get. And if they decide to give the kids a gender affirming care, they threaten the parents with prosecution or with separation from their children. So you can see there the hypocrisy from the right. That's why I think they're not genuine. I think it's just bigotry hidden under the veneer of concern for the children. But they're not concerned about the damn children when they're starving, when they need food, or when the mom asks for food stamps so she can feed herself and her kid. They're not concerned about the children then. They're not concerned about the children in Missouri when Democrats tried to make it illegal for children to be married to adult men. Women, adult girls being married to adult men, like a 12-year-old married to like a 24-year-old. Republicans oppose changing that law, just to show how concerned they are. Is it Iowa or Wyoming? It's one of those right-wing states. It's probably not the only one either, but who knows? So that's how I feel about that. This one is this one I'm kind of like on a whim about it, but like I'm like really dead center on what to conclude, but maybe not. Let me see. If a child comes out as trans to a school official in school, should the school official be required or obligated or legally required to tell the child's parents? To me, that's a tough one. If you're a parent on the right, you probably be like, yeah, I want to fucking know right away. If you're on the left, like me, yeah, I would like to know as well. At the same time, man, I think I'll put it this way. A child comes out as trans people to the school counselor, to her or his school counselor, or comes out as gay, comes out of the closet as one or the other, or whatever other letter of the LGBT plus alphabet. They come out as trans or as gay. Should the counselor be required immediately, like within a day, to tell the parents? No. I say no to that. I still think the parents should know. I mean, let's see, one of my children does that. I think I'm accepting enough. I mean, I'm not worried about the counselor telling me, but I would like the counselor to kind of take into consideration the students' well-being and how they, let's say, Matt Walsh, bigoted ass bitch, freaking fascist-minded man, and very anti-trans, very anti-gay, very anti-LGBT. Like, if there's anything clear about that guy, it's that he is that. He's a fucking bigot, and through and through, and he doesn't hide it. He's not shameful about it. Let's say I'm Matt Walsh's kid. I'm 8 years old. I'm fucking, I'm older. I'm Matt Walsh's kid. I'm 14 years old, 15 years old, and I feel like I am gay. And I see what my fucking dad is up to, the kind of work he does, how he earns his bag, the kind of, what he does for a living. Do I want my counselor, if I come out of the closet to my counselor, who has obviously earned my trust, Do I want her or him to be legally required to tell Matt Walsh about me being gay? Fuck no, I don't. So that's what I think. Like, I'm thinking about that child. Eventually, I think Matt Walsh should know anyway. If I'm the counselor, like, your parent has to know. But I think the compromise position would be, okay, your dad, your mom, your whoever your caregiver is, your parent has to know. Like, we have to tell them. It cannot be hidden forever. But we want to prepare you for it, because I think it should be you who tell them that you're gay, or you have some gender dysphoria or something. I think it needs to be you, and we should prepare like a contingency plan for you, just in case you get rejected, because apparently people that come out as trans or something, a lot of times their families kick them out of the house or whatever. They end up homeless, and God knows what happens to them in the streets, etc. Yeah, your parents have to know. I think it's best if you tell them. If you're scared, you think your dad is very transphobe, homophobe, etc. We'll help you. We'll prepare you. We can give you a freaking tutorial or presentation, whatever, on how you can come out to your parents and come out of the closet to them, and we'll have housing for you if everything, worst case scenario, you get kicked out or something, or he tries to harm you. We'll have a contingency plan for you to help you out, and you won't be on the streets. But yeah, your parents have to know, because whatever is legally required, etc. And I think it's just the healthiest approach. Even if your parent is your father is Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles or Ben Shapiro, it's the healthiest approach. And so they have to find out one way or another. They're going to find out. You might as well tell them now, get it off your chest. And if they're gonna rip you for it, at least the cut will start healing right away. And I don't know, maybe they'll accept you in the end. But have a support for them: emotional support, financial support, material support for that person. So yes, I fall on you gotta tell them, but let's take our time. Let's get you prepared to tell them the appropriate way and for your own well-being. And if Matt Walsh kicks you out or tries to harm you, we'll have a backup plan for you. And I think that's the best approach, honestly. But what the fuck do I know, right? But just remember, this is all coming from a layman's. I am not the most educated man. I finished high school. I'm going to trade school now, so I'm learning about bridges. I'm learning about grade checking. I'm learning about laying bricks and making cement for the bricks, all that kind of shit. But I'm pretty good at math. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any certification for anything else. This is just me giving my own honest opinion, and how I feel about it, and how I feel about the right. They're not being honest about this issue, because I don't think it's this big, and this is a big issue, but they make it a big issue. And like I said, they're passing legislation, man, and it's hurting people. So gotta respond. And so this is me extending an olive branch for them. Yeah, sure, we'll make it illegal till this age. And yeah, sure, the parents should know. But I think it's the child's concern or fear of telling the parents should be taken into consideration as well. Trans people in sports. This might be the most controversial position I have. I'm not fully sold on that. Not so much trans men competing against cis men, because, I mean, you know what you're getting into. But trans women competing against cis women, yeah, I'm not sure about it, man. I think so far I laid out that I'm pretty trans rights for the most part. I might have caveats here and there where, sure, let's add an insurance here and let the right wingers who are legitimately concerned about certain things, let's address those little things. This whole thing about trans women competing against cis women, I'm not sure about it. This is where uh, what's her name, Emma Vincent from the Majority Report, kind of lost me. It's like, no, I don't know, it was like a person, like super chat or whatever. They commented on her show. They sent her a comment, and she read it on the air, and the person's like, no, yeah, I think it's important that we include trans women in sports, but I think we need to think about cis women too, make sure it's not an unfair advantage. And she just went fucking off the rails on this thing. Like, bullshit. It's not, like, pretty much her her bottom line was, I don't care if it's unfair to women. It's more important that trans women don't get discriminated, and they should be able to compete in women's sports, against cis women. And yeah, I just don't agree with that. I mean, I do agree that we need to make sure trans women are not being discriminated against. I do agree that much. But man, I like sports, and I hate it when it's an unfair fucking advantage to one team or disadvantage to the other. When the referee is being a crook or being stupid and not making the right calls, it gets under my skin. So I cannot, in good faith, say no. Just put them to compete against each other, and I don't care if the trans women have an advantage for being a biological male. Like having the bone structure of a male or the muscles, whatever, like bigger lung capacity, they say. I don't know how much of that shit is true, because it's bigots making the arguments against trans women. So I don't know how much of what they're saying is true, but I think we need more science on this issue. This girl named Benny, she's a trans woman herself, Benny Corolla. She says that there is definite science saying that there's no unfair advantage to trans women. I have not been able to look at that science. And I think that you gotta be trained too to know how to read freaking scientific notations and studies. So I don't think I have the trained eye for that. But so even if I sat down and looked at it, I don't know if I could. But I honestly don't have time to read a lot of shit, man. I'm fucking busy, and I got my union that I work, that I gotta attend my union meetings. I got my trade classes that I have to go to. I gotta go to work 8 to 10 hours a day. I gotta attend to my family. So very little time, muy poquito tiempo to do give it a good read on everything. It took me this long to speak on this issue because it took me this long to hear all these arguments from both sides. And so I got time right now because my wife is gone. My children are gone. They freaking they're going to Chicago tomorrow with my mother-in-law. And so they went to stay the night with her, and then they're going to take off from there. So that's the only reason why I'm making this long ass video right now. Because I got the extra time right now. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like to see more research, and I haven't seen much up on it, man. I wish somebody really goes through Benny's claims with a fine-tooth comb and read thoroughly through the studies that she's talking about. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I care. I don't want trans women to be discriminated against from participating in women's sports. At the same time, I am concerned about an unfair disadvantage. an unfair advantage, and I think, yeah, I don't think it's fair for the cis women to compete against trans women if that advantage does in fact exist. I think it needs to be solved. I don't know what needs to be done, and I'm way outside. I thought about this. I sat down and thought about that issue, and it's like, let's say there is like nothing they can do about it. Let's say trans women really do have that advantage, and it can't be reduced, or it can't be, you know, met by the cis woman. It's not a fair advantage, and that's the bottom line. Nothing can be done about that fact. A trans woman is just gonna be stronger, faster, whatever, than the cis woman. I'm way outside the box on this shit, and I'm just gonna stick to one sport because I know it very well, which is soccer. Soccer rules, etc., etc. Bottom line with soccer, basic rules, basic knowledge. There'd be 22 players on the field, 11 on each side. One of them being the goalkeeper. Then you got a referee, and then you got two flagmen to help the referee if there's an offside play, mostly. 45 minutes each half, and extra time if there's like time lost during a foul or discussion or whatever, etc. And in that worst case scenario that I'm talking about, where there's nothing that can be done, and it is a fact, trans women are just gonna be physically stronger, physically bigger than an actual woman, than a cis woman. Like I said, I'm outside the box. You're gonna have a trans woman in your team to make it even. Fuck it. You can only have 9 players on the field, and this team that is all cis women, they can have 11 players to even the odds. That's how far I think about it. Or I don't know. You can have 11 players. That the other one can have 12 players. Or you're only allowed 3 subs. The all cis women's side is allowed 5 subs. That's what I would do. If the advantage really is there and there's not much that can be done to mitigate it, I think it's a win-win that way. But I might be sounding ignorant as hell with that suggestion, but I just want it to be fair, man, and I don't want it to be any discrimination. So that's my honest opinion on it. What else do I got here? Should transphobes be forever shunned? Like, should it be unforgivable to be a transphobe or a homophobe or a racist? I say no, but it depends. Some people are just deplorable from the moment you meet them or you know about them to the moment they die. And so they'll forever be shunned on your list, in your memory. Let's say Rush Limbaugh, deplorable guy. Honestly, I never cared for him. He's dead now. I didn't celebrate his death, but I certainly didn't cry. I just indifferent. Okay, so he's dead. I think he did a lot of bad things for this country. I think he ruined a lot of minds. He poisoned a lot of minds with his toxic ideology. Same way I feel about Trump. That's how I feel about Ben Shapiro. That's how I feel about Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles. I don't know, someday maybe before they die, they might do some good deeds. But yeah. But I don't know. When there is a legitimate change, I think they should be given a chance. Let's say they go into the penalty box for 2 or 3 years. You never hear from them. Then they come back with a different ideology or different mentality on certain topics. Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's like, I honestly, I don't even know if you can ever really get rid of your bigotry or your transphobia or your xenophobia or your whatever phobia you have. Like me, I'm pretty, like I said, I'm pretty accepting. But if I told you right now that watching two dudes have a sex scene or make out like hardcore, it would make me uncomfortable, honestly. Or not uncomfortable, but it would make me feel squeamish. Not gonna lie, like, yeah. I can watch two ladies make out or have sex, whatever. I'd be okay with that. Wouldn't bother me. I might like watching it. Two dudes? Nah, man. I'm not interested. You can have it, or, live your lives and do what you want. But yeah, I don't really want to see it. I don't know if and that's how I feel about other things. Abortion rights, totally pro-choice. That's how I am, man. I think up to 24 weeks, whatever, it should be the woman's choice and no one else's. She can keep the baby, she can have a baby, or just abort the fetus that's in her. At the same time, it's like, it does make me squeamish if I think about the abortion happening and, however the fetus gets disposed of. Makes me feel squeamish. And doesn't mean I'm against the woman's right. So you cannot be completely anti something or for something. And that's how I feel about it too. Like, yeah, you think I'm being too homophobe for thinking, like, I watched that movie years ago, Milk. I think Sean Penn or whatever was in it. And yeah, so he there's a scene where him and James Franco, they're making out and having sex in the movie. I mean, I didn't see no intercourse, but I still went like, eh. It made me feel squeamish, man. It's just my natural reaction. Doesn't mean I want to make that behavior illegal, or you know what I mean. It's not that hard to comprehend where I'm coming from. Something makes you squeamish doesn't mean you want to make it illegal or punish it or whatever by law. That's all. That's it, really. Last point here. Don't validate right-wing hateful slogans. Just don't fall for their bullshit. Don't fall for it. I was just listening to the Breakfast Club, and they're wrong for having this opinion, but there's this dude, I can't remember who they were talking about, but they played the audio. He's talking on some interview, and he was like, I don't care. I have nothing against gay people. I think you should love who you want to love, blah blah blah. Just keep it away from children. Buying into that slogan, which I think is bullshit. I don't think it's true. I don't think there's a mass epidemic of that happening. I'm sure you'll find a freaking weird teacher out there that is obsessed with LGBT stuff, and maybe he or she is forcing it on children, like, just pushing it too hard on an 8 or 9-year-old. I'm sure you'll find a case here and there. I don't think there's a mass epidemic of that, though. And that's what the right wing makes it sound like. And this dude, when you talk like that, it sounds like you freaking bought into it, Patrick Bet-David talking about people are leaving the churches, like there's less attendance on the churches and more people are subscribing to the LGBTQology. Pretty much saying that we're like the LGBT people are like a cult, or gay people are like a cult, or a religion or something. Some ridiculous shit like that. But yeah, man. Child mutilation, that's another right-wing talking point, bigoted talking point. Yeah, chemical castration, whatever, I think they call it chemical castration. I'm telling you, man, I don't trust right-wing people. And maybe that's a flaw in me, but I just don't trust them. I think they lie too much. And the voter base, I don't know if they freaking go along with the lie or if they really believe the lie, because I go like, how the fuck do they fall for this kind of trash? How can they possibly? It's like I think they know they're being liars too or something. Like I don't just say they're liars, but I don't I don't I'm not blunt about it. Like I don't think they're liars. Like I do tell myself maybe they're saying something true. Maybe there's a grain of truth here. So I do give them a chance. Like okay, so where did you hear this? Or show me a source or something that says this or that supports what you're telling me here. And sometimes they go way over the top. Sometimes they don't provide a damn thing. Sometimes they give you a long ass like the whole climate change debate. I'm debating with this guy on Facebook, and he says that it's a hoax or whatever. He says that it's not real. It's not a real problem, and etc. Say, oh, there's a long list of predictions that they make, and he just posted like he replied to me with a long ass fucking list on Facebook, like from 1940 or something, 1930 or something, all the way down to 2019 or 2020 of the list, supposedly the list of predictions that politicians or scientists made that didn't become true. And me being the busy guy that I am, that most people are really, I first thought I had is like, how the fuck does this guy even know this is true? Does he not have a life? Where the fuck do you find the time to make this big ass list, first of all? And where did you find the time to even verify all these claims that you claim are bullshit? So of course I didn't go through the fucking big ass list. I'm just gonna go with the latest ones here, like the 2021 or 2019 one, which it was something about AOC, where AOC said that predicted that the world was gonna end or something in 5 years or something like that. And I'm like, okay, let me verify that one. And yeah, it turns out it was bullshit. I mean, she said those words, but she was like taken way out of context or something, and I can't even remember what was the lie anymore. But I'm like, well, I know that one. So it's like it was like so obviously false. So like she didn't make a prediction. It wasn't a prediction that she made or something. I think she was talking about some scientist or something about the world ending. I don't think she meant it literally. I wish I could remember. I wish I could remember how I pretty much debunked that one claim. I'm like, dude, and I just replied to him, I'm not reading that fucking list that you sent me. What the fuck you think I am? Some fucking... Damn it, the video ended. But yeah, this might end up being a 2-part or 3-part video because I'm going way over. But yeah, I was like, I'm not reading that goddamn list. I read one, I said, or two, and they were false. So yeah, good luck with that. So yeah, they might overwhelm you with some facts that they cause, some claims. Probably hoping that you're too lazy to go through them or something, or they just won't give you any facts. I encountered both situations, and so I was not impressed with their findings. So I just don't trust right-wing people. I don't trust the voter base either, for different reasons. I think some of them, they might be genuinely like they believe what they're telling me. Doesn't mean what they're telling me is true, because they have their own echo chambers, man. And yeah, I got my own echo chambers, but I legitimately try to get out of my own echo chambers, and listen to other. I listen to the PBD podcast, even when it's the home team, which is pretty much right winger, fundamentalist fuckers, like way to the right. And then you got Adam Sosnick, who is like center right or center left at best. So yeah, you hear a whole bunch of bullshit from the home team on the PBD podcast. You hear fucking Joe Rogan. He had PBD in his podcast recently. That dude is so full of shit, man. I'm so tired of him. For some reason, for a while, I was like, sure, I think he's right wing on things, but I think he has good left wing talking points. But I think he's full of shit. I don't think he believes anything he says anymore. Yeah, I think I have to make a whole video just on Joe Rogan, but boy, I went way over this on this one. So yeah, that's it. And that's all I got really. If there's anything on the trans stuff that you think I didn't talk about, I don't know, leave a comment, and I'll reply to it if I get a chance. Yeah, I don't know what else is there that that I can talk about regarding the trans stuff, LGBT stuff, but that's my entire position on it and how I feel about everybody that talks about it and how I feel about the whole issue myself. Ciao.